Hello and welcome to another edition of the Percussion Instruction Podcast. Today we're going to be going over the bongos. Now, before we even get into it, I want to talk about a couple different ways of playing the bongos. You notice that I'm seated and that I have them played between my legs. That's the traditional way of playing the bongos, okay? Now, there are many other ways to play them. Many put them on a stand. You can play them standing up on a stand, and a little later we'll have them up on a stand so that you can see them and how that would be. Also a seated stand where they could be on a stand but low so that you can play them down here and that you're not straining your muscles, especially if you're playing for long periods of time, and then you can just kind of turn the stand in this fashion so that you can play on the heads right there. Now, there are two heads, and they are put together, separated but put together by a one-piece wood block, traditionally. They're also fiberglass. But the smaller head is traditionally called the marcha, or the male. The macho, I'm thinking in the context of rhythms and patterns, called the macho. And then you have the hembra. You have the male and the female. So what we're going to go over is strokes and how to play the macho and the hembra, and a couple different patterns that we could play with the bongos, okay? So on the smaller head here, you have a few different strokes. One will be fingertip, okay? And I'm going to say fingertip. Now, the different strokes that we're going to go over and the different names that I'm going to assign them, it may vary slightly from instructor to instructor, from player to player, but for the most part, at least the actual stroke and what we're doing is going to be the same, okay? Now, fingertip could be played with your actual, just like on the conga where you have heel tip with your fingers, okay? And I'm playing with my fingers, the tips of my fingers here, right here, okay? A little closer there. Right there, towards the center or the bottom, okay? For right now, we're going to focus on about 3/4 away from the center here, between the center and the edge there, okay? And notice my playing position, very relaxed. So that's going to be the fingertip, okay? And there's going to be another fingertip. There's another tip but right now this is the motion that we're talking about, okay? And then we have the thumb, okay? Now the thumb is going to be played where, imagine your hand is resting on left hand is resting on my left knee here, and see where my thumb comes, right towards the center? That's where the thumb is going to be played, just like that, okay? So you have finger, thumb. It's like a heel tip, okay? Finger, thumb, finger, thumb, finger, thumb, okay? Then you have fingertip, all right? So we're going to call this finger. We're going to call this tip, okay? So we're going to take that back a moment there. We're going to call this finger. We're going to call this thumb, and this is going to be the tip, okay? Now what I'm going to play it with, you can play it either with one finger or with these three fingers here, okay? I am going to play it with these three fingers with the majority of the pressure and the contact being from my long finger, okay? And I am just at the very edge, the brim, okay, of the drum there, on the outside. Notice it's very high pitch. Okay, now that's going to be the fingertip. That's going to be a tip on the outside. So you have finger, then you have tip. Okay, finger, thumb, tip. All right, now this tip is an open note. I'm still putting a little pressure. Okay, now if I'm applying pressure down and I'm not letting go, it's a closed tone. Remember that from the conga tutorials. If not, you can go and look at the basic strokes on the conga tutorials. Letting it come down, wrist motion there, right on the tip. Listen to how it sounds. Okay? Finger, thumb, tip. All right? Then you can apply a little bit more pressure, okay? And it will have a different sound. It's a different dynamic. Okay? Now, if I bring these fingertips down a little bit closer towards the center from the rim, just a little bit, and let my hand bounce off, that's going to be my open tone, okay? Tip, open. There's a little bit of a spreading of the hand there, just a tiny bit. And I'm letting the drum resonate. I'm letting the hands bounce a little bit. It's the very edge. My fingertips are still on the drum, but my fingertips do not rest on the drum, okay? Allowing it to resonate. Okay? Tip, or finger, thumb, tip. All right? Now, if I take my thumb, remember the thumb, and I come down in the center of the drum, and then I bring the fingertip here, and I come